Hi everyone, my name is Maya. I'm one of the hosts for World Society with my bestie Sunny Maria. This channel is all about the books this channel is all about books. So let's talk about the books that I have recently read. If I just reflect on my reading year, it started out really well. I think I read like 7 books in January, but then when February and March came around, I hit a totally massive reading slump. So this list isn't that long, and I believe I've mentioned a few of these books in past videos, but a repeat never hurt anyone, so let's get started. So let's start with the first book that I read in 2021. It was Jiyoung Born in 1982, written by who was the author? Nam-Joo. I loved it. I got recommended this book by Ariel Bissett. Not personally, I watch a YouTube channel like everybody else. Or it was possibly on her podcast Books Unbound. Listen to it, I love it. Anyway, in Jiyoung Born in 1982, it chronicles the everyday struggles of women in Korea and just the systemic sexism in the Korean society, and the way that the author, I need to put on my tea for this. The way the author just structured the book was so interesting to me because, for example, in the book, the main character thinks about quitting her job in order to care for her child, and because hiring a nanny would be too expensive. But directly underneath that passage, the author would have a statistic about the amount of women who had to do the same thing. And the way that the author just used like non-fiction and fiction together to really hone in that message in the novel was really interesting. I have never read a book that did that. I was gonna say did that so effectively, but I've never read the book that did that at all. So it was really interesting. Yeah, and I also noticed that I haven't really read that many books that are set in Korea. So this was definitely an interesting start to more books set in Korea. So yeah, I loved it. I think I gave it 5 stars. It was definitely a good start on my reading year. The next few books that I read are actually a series. It's the Lunar Chronicles, written by Marissa Meyer. The Lunar Chronicles are a fairy tale retelling all about revolution, love, and a plague. Yeah, it was definitely interesting reading a book where the characters are experiencing a pandemic while I'm doing the same. And Winter is the first book in the series, and no, Winter is the last book in the series. Cinder is the first book in the series, and Cinder is our Cinderella. Did you notice that? And she is a gifted mechanic. She is hated by her stepmother and is blamed for the sudden illness of her stepsister, and somehow her life becomes intertwined with the Prince Kai, and things happen. That's all you really need to know about the series. Something that I love about the series is they really do have really interesting twists to the fairy tale that all of us grew up and know really well. But I have to say, while I was editing a video that I posted a while ago where I went to the woods and I recommended books to read while you're depressed, I'll link that video somehow. I just finished Winter, and I noticed a few things while reading it, but also mainly noticed more things while I was reading reviews for the entire series. First of all, we should talk about how all of Asia is just referred to as the Eastern Commonwealth, and yeah, and also they're ruled over by a Japanese family, kinda stirs evokes you know, Japanese imperialism if you think about it. And also the series blends together a lot of East Asian cultures into one, and China almost becomes this melting pot of all East Asian cultures, despite you know, all of them having, you know, their own language, their own culture. So yeah, that's one thing. We should also talk about how the character Winter is treated. Winter is a lunar, and she doesn't want to use her power as a lunar, and because of that she experiences visual hallucinations, and because of that she gets called crazy by everyone, and crazy becomes a nickname given to her by one of the main characters. So I recommend it. Maybe I like them. Let's go to the next book. I also reread Educated by Tara Westover. I read this book with my bestie Sunny, who I host World Society with years ago. I think like 2017, 18, a while ago. And it instantly became one of my favorite memoirs. Tara Westover, the first time she stepped into a classroom, she was 17, and she grew up in a very survivalist family up in the mountains of Idaho. What's interesting is when you reread one of your favorite books, I always find it interesting to see what you take away each time you read it. And the first time I read Educated, what really you know, struck me was like the abuse element that she writes about. But what I really found interesting this time around was when she talks about education, who gets to be educated, what does it mean to be educated? Is it just having a diploma? That cannot be it, because think of all these stupid people who have a diploma from a really, you know, Ivy League university.
It's important to think, here's the institution of education. I'm in a classroom, here's the syllabus, here's what we're reading. This is the institution of education. The education is what you learn, and if you actively think about how you want to write and who you want to read, you're going to learn so much more than if you just passively accept a curriculum that someone else has put in place.
I can go into this for a really long time, but it was something that really struck me and also gave me like a little bit of a push, because I was a little bit in a school slump, and it really made me to like get my shit together and start reading. Because if Tara Westover could get a PhD, I can definitely finish my, you know, education. Another book that I talked about in the video where I went to the woods and talked about, you know, books to read when you're depressed is Reasons to Stay Alive by Matt Haig. It's a book that I must have heard before, because I definitely knew of Matt Haig, and I read it, but it was a book that I would love to like go back in time and give to 16-year-old me. That sounded really dark maybe, but it's a book where Matt Haig opens up about his depression, and he really first of all, he gives reasons to stay alive, which was really interesting to read and like reread over and over again, and also kind of funny, maybe to me. He talks a lot about reasons to stay alive. There's a big chapter on two people who have friends and loved ones who are depressed, and how to be a help and a loving hand while you're supporting them. Okay, this next book, if you follow us on Instagram, I'm sure you don't want me to speak more about this book, because I've talked enough about it. There's a 2-hour live stream on Instagram, and there's like a 30-minute part of that live stream on our YouTube channel, but it's my video, I'll do whatever I want. It's Rage Becomes Her by Soraya Chemaly. my favorite book of all time. I love it so much. I'm not gonna go too deep into it because it is literally a 2-hour live stream. You can watch it on our Instagram. To sum up why I love Rage Becomes Her, it's because it's very eye-opening, because it gives voice to causes, expressions, and possibilities of female rage. And what I keep coming back to is the way Soraya ends the novel, this is not fiction, ends the book by describing how creative anger can really be, and we really need to stop using our anger against ourselves and using it more as fuel to be our drive for change. I love it. And I'm gonna stop talking about it for a few videos now because I'm sure you want me to shut up. But I love it. Then I also reread The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. The Handmaid's Tale, as you all know, is Margaret Atwood's dystopian future set after environmental disasters and a decline in birth rates that led to the totalitarian regime Gilead, set where the United States is right now. And I love it. I wanted to read it, and also the Testaments, it's right there. I don't feel like going and getting it, but the Testaments, reading both of them, because the new season of The Handmaid's Tale is coming out and I love the show. And I'm sure they're gonna take a few storylines from the Testaments in the new show, the new season, and I just wanted to, if I'm gonna read the second book, might as well start with the first one first. What I really thought about while reading it this time around was just the information we get. Like, how twisted is it? Why are we getting it through this perspective? What aren't we getting? And can Alfred, the main character, really be totally honest in what she is experiencing if you really think about her predicament? And so yeah, I think everything that has said about this book has already been said, and I don't think I'm being that eloquent right now, but I loved it. I also want to talk about the books that I'm currently reading. The last video I uploaded was a library haul, so I'm currently making my way through all of the books in that haul. But the one that I'm currently reading is Becoming by Michelle Obama. I literally finished Winter in the Lunar Chronicles yesterday, and I picked up Becoming last night. I'm on chapter 4 and I'm loving it so far, and after that I'm gonna pick up The Color Purple. For obvious reasons, Alice Walker, a classic, yeah, you know. So yeah, those are the books that I'm currently reading and the books that I recently read. That about wraps up this video. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, please click the subscribe button and like the video. If you read any of the books that I mentioned, please comment down below and tell me what you thought about them. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.